11-year-old's gender reveal.
Oh!
Alright, I'm heading out. Should be able to reach that. You know I'm doing this, right?
Because I'll
Pick the wrong one. Yep.
You know, I flew over some of those beautiful windmills. They're falling down, by the way. They're all over the place. They're all over the place. That gorgeous, beautiful Pennsylvania countryside. They got these big, ugly suckers hanging down. They're rusting and rotting. Half of them weren't spinning, and the ones that were going so slow. They were going, it's not too windy, but, you know, they're going like slow. The other ones were just dead. But they're all rusting and disgusting looking. And then, you know, the environmentalists say that it's also, very importantly, the most expensive form of energy there is. You cannot get more expensive. The wind, it sounds so wonderful. The wind is bullshit. I'll tell you, it's horrible.
Who needs personality when you can switch who you are at the push of a button?
Oh, hello, young lady. Quite a marvelous day, innit?
Why does she talk so weird? Let me play with her.
Well, hey there, little nugget. I'm gonna be the first black female president of the United States of America.
Man, this doll sucks.
Accent Switch Kamala can emulate any accent you like, as long as it grants her credibility.
Bonjour, tu aimes les croissants?
Merde américaine.
Guten Tag, Sie lieben ein Bratwurst? Ufta, ufta, ufta da.
Luke, I am your mother.
But wait, there's more. All new Accent Switch Kamala comes with 2 bags of campaign money, a blind eye for illegal immigration, and her own multi-laugh 3000 generator. Laugh in every way possible. Let Accent Switch Kamala turn your life into a complete circus.
When you give me more money, like Uncle Joey did.
Don't you wear a little mad? The money's coming.
I don't understand.
Oh, excuse me, honey.
I meant to say, the money is coming. I love ice cream, Kamala map.
It's Accent Switch Kamala and brand new Tampon Tim.
You know, my grandma always used to say, Kamala Janu, please wash your hands so we can eat our chicken masama.
It's Accent Switch Kamala.
You don't have to go to hell. You're in hell. This is hell. This is hell. This is hell.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.
Then strangled them, and finally dismembered their bodies.
Bright,
then
available.
And homelessness and all that. And now, the voice you've been waiting for.
There is a secret song at the center of the world, and its sound is like razors through flesh. I'm here to turn up the volume.
I'm kind of retarded.
Well, here we are, midway through October, just going day by day with a constant feeling of...
I like these calm little moments before the storm. It reminds me of Beethoven.
And I'm not even talking about the hurricanes. I'm not trying to downplay it or anything, because there are, as of now, dozens of people dead. But this is Florida. We're built a little different. If you move here and you're not a total dumbass, you accept the risk that yes, there might be a time when you get slammed with a hurricane, and you compound that risk the closer you live to the ocean or the Gulf. But when everything is said and done, nobody handles hurricanes as well as Florida. And while Florida Man might be the butt of many jokes, a lot of the same people cracking those jokes would drop a Biden bomb in their pants at the same situations that Florida Man doesn't even blink at. And for those that don't know, I'm down in South Florida, so we really only got tropical storm force winds and actually barely any rain from the storm. I did get to see a little bit of this purple sky shit. It was only off to the west. It wasn't the whole entire sky like the people on the Gulf Coast saw, but I know there's a good Prince joke in here, I just can't quite find it. And then there was the Lieutenant Dan saga. People started calling this guy Lieutenant Dan even though he has both of his legs, he was never in the military. It basically just came from the fact that he's riding out a hurricane on a boat. The boat and everything on it represented all of his possessions, and in the end he made it through. The boat probably wouldn't have made it had he not been on board to cut the line once the boat started banging on the rocks. But then the money he got offered to start streaming and the $100,000 boat got rescinded once it came out that, oh, this guy has a criminal record. And he did do time for battery on a police officer, but if we're being fair here, that's a charge that a lot of people get under bullshit circumstances. So I'm not going to judge this guy solely on that. And they interviewed him and they said, well, what do you think? And he said, look, I never asked anybody for shit, so what do I care if he fucking rescinds the offer? The dumbass should have done his due diligence before making the offer. And he's absolutely right about that.
And that's all I have to say about that.
And then there was the guy that decided to reinforce his house with cargo straps. And that house seemed to make it through just fine, although I really don't think the cargo straps had anything to do with that. This storm brought a record number of tornado warnings, and if his house would have taken a direct hit from a tornado, those fucking cargo straps would be all that's left intact. And then there was all those crazy people who somehow got the notion that Milton was an engineered storm. I guess some people got the wrong idea when they started seeing anomalies like this on the radars. All of a sudden you see this weird flash pop up, and at the same time on different kinds of radars you have shit go weird. And then on this one there's a fucking box that's like a redacted show up. Like, what's going on down there? Nah, pay no attention to that. And this anomaly just so happened to come at a time when the storm was weakening after initially hitting Cat 5, and the eye wall had collapsed, and then right after it, oh, the eye wall comes back with a vengeance and it hits Cat 5 again. And then with the people pulling up old articles where it was openly admitted that geoengineering is in fact a fucking thing, articles that often contain the name of a certain douchebag who doesn't know how to stay in his own lane.
Hey, there's more!
What more?
Much more!
Woo! That's right. Well, as Mark Twain once famously said, everyone complains about the weather, but no one ever does anything about it. Well, instead of doing a rain dance, we physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky to actually precipitate rain clouds and actually bring down lightning bolts. This is potentially a game changer.
But this is experimental.
It's experimental. However, in the laboratory so far it works. When you have water vapor and you have dust particles or ice crystals, you can precipitate rain. It condenses around the seeds. These seeds can also be created by laser beams. By firing trillion-watt lasers, you rip apart the electrons, creating what are called ions, and these ions act like seeds, like dust particles, bringing down rain and even lightning.
But don't worry, everyone. I've been assured by BBC News that Hurricane Milton was not engineered. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm sure relieved. And the news has sure decided to run with Milton as the major story, and they're not talking too much about Western North Carolina anymore.
Oh, how convenient!
Because while the death toll from Milton in Florida stands at about 24 people, which is tragic, don't get me wrong, it sorta pales in comparison to the hundreds of people, at least, that are confirmed dead in Western North Carolina. And Florida will probably be back to business as usual before they even figure out what the death toll from Helene was. And a lot of those bodies might never be recovered because when you have a mudslide and people get buried in it, it becomes very hard to find their remains. And anything on the news I have seen in the past week about Helene is simply focused on all that misinformation about how FEMA fucking sucks.
Yeah. Since you've been here?
So my name's Suzanne. We actually live a half a mile from here. We live there. That's our business. It got completely washed away by the flood. We evacuated to this school, which is where we've been living for the last 9 days. And we've been just volunteering with our fire department because this is kind of like our home turf. And this has turned into a supply center. Everyone keeps saying that FEMA's here, the National Guard is here. No one has been here. All these roads through here are cleared because local people cleared them. Local people that had tractors, excavators, anything, and then they called in their friends that had resources throughout the state. All the swiftwater teams, none of that's been government. It's been other states sending their teams down, like New Hampshire and Delaware.
Florida.
It's all volunteers. It's all either little fire departments or, little first responder services like that. It's no government help. One day we had 6 National Guardsmen here for 4 hours. That was it, and they helped sort in here. That was all. It's all locals, local resources, it's all civilians.
And they're crying like little bitches saying, how are we supposed to help people when there's mean things being said about us?
I was going to say something about Biden and Harris.
Yes, what were you going to say? Oh.
But I don't like to curse. I'm scared there'll be little ears listening.
But if you had a message for the White House and how they've handled the situation up here in North Carolina, what would your message be, Sheriff Wright?
If you're going to do the things you've been talking about doing, we just send you stay out of the way and let the good men and women around the mountain area and the foothills take care of our own, because you're nothing more than a boat anchor.
No help? FEMA hasn't been helpful?
Wait a minute. That lady that's running for president talks about the $750. What about all that money you give to Ukraine and all these other people that really want to kill us, don't want to do anything to help us? Why don't you just give that money to them? That's who you want to give it to begin with.
And a lot of people have been turned down for the $750. Almost everybody I've spoken to hasn't received any of the funding, and they've been turned down for personal items.
Well, they talked about get on your phone or your computer. Do you not see what the devastation is? They don't have a phone or a computer.
There's nothing up here. There's no communication. I'm going to be posting this later. There's no way to access the internet unless you have a Starlink net. And everybody's...
Thank you, Elon Musk, by the way.
Oh, yes, thank you, Elon Musk.
President Donald Trump, we need you.
They even started wheeling out President Shit-for-Brains to counter the misinformation, not only about FEMA, but about that insane notion of the government being able to control weather. Of course, nobody paid much attention to him for reasons that are pretty fucking obvious.
There's clearly some dementia. He's not lucid.
Well, folks, Kamala and I have just received a briefing from senior leaders across our administration from Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton. 50 to 75 members from North Carolina all the way down to Florida. And, you know, this is the third major storm to hit California. Florida in 3 months.
And across the Southeast, ensured that they will recover. They're on the ground and have been affected, will have the resources they need, not only to respond to...
Do
you think Donald Trump is singularly to blame for all of this?
No, he's not singularly. He's just the biggest mouth. To safely shelter last night, civilian authorities.
Wait, what?
Civilian authorities. All of the states impacted by Hurricane Helene. And the more capabilities are available, we assess some pressing needs, we can get whatever they need. To the servicemen and women who are on the ground responding to these disasters and receive death penalties. Some received death penalties yesterday.
What is wrong with you?
No one should make the American people question whether their governments will make sure that this disaster when it strikes, they'll be there. We will, all of us.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
Mr. President Trump, former President Trump, get a life, man. Help these people.
Will you hold him accountable? You said you were going to hold...
Of course, Tweedledum didn't fare much better than Tweedledemented. She went on The View the other day, a show that couldn't possibly be more friendly, and dropped this little nugget of brilliance.
Well, if anything, would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
That wasn't even a softball, that was fucking T-ball. Even on the left, they've been open and vocal about the one thing she needs to do is distance herself from the dumpster fire that has been the past 3.5 years. And here they give her a perfect opportunity to do that in a forum where there'll be no pushback on any bullshit she spouts, and that's the best that she can muster.
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Wow.
Is it any wonder why she almost exclusively does taped interviews where they can later edit it to make her seem like less of a retard?
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
And I would be remiss if I didn't mention this creepy sack of shit. I came across this on Saturday, and I really have no idea how legit this is, and I'm hearing rumors that there's other people coming forward with similar claims, but when I first saw this reply, I nearly dropped a Biden bomb. Okay, Tim, I guess now would be a good time to drop my October surprise. You remember him, right? The real reason you walked away from teaching? The kid who spent the night at your home? The one you went to the gay bar with? The reason the school board had a meeting about you? What do you think, Tim? Should I drop that now, or should I wait another week or so? You know, the student you were having sex with? The male student you were having sex with? They didn't call you Touchdown Timmy because you were the football coach. Oh wait, you lied about that also. You were the assistant coach. What do you think, Tim? You remember the Indigo Girls concert, right? The gay bar, spending the night, and of course the school board meeting. Think it is time, Tim? Touchdown Timmy? You were touchy, alright. And if this shit does turn out to be for real...
Total Providence.
And this week's Holy Shit Did That Story Go Away Quick award goes to the Afghan national getting arrested for allegedly plotting an ISIS-inspired Election Day terrorist attack. I wonder if that has anything to do with the fact that he used to work for the CIA. And this was an update that came 33 minutes after the last one. But then more than 3 days later, when I did a search for this news story, the first article to pop up was the original one that just so happened to not mention the CIA at all. But I'm sure this is just one of those things that appears suspect, but is totally benign and meaningless. But however things end up playing out in the next few weeks leading up to the election and right after the election, and on through to Inauguration Day, is there any doubt that when it comes to these surprises,
we ain't seen nothing yet.
Make sure to be aware of your surroundings. If you're not already on the highest level of alert, you should be. Slancha.
All I have in this world is my thoughts and my word, and I don't break them for no one. You understand? So say good night to the bad guy. 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 Come on. Come on. to the bad guy.
fuck with me! I told you! Don't fuck with me! I told you! Don't fuck with me! You stupid fuck! Look at you now! Look at you now!